Hello everyone, Professor Berninger here. I want to finish up our time with the American master Edgar Allan Poe with his almost equally famous to the Raven poem, Annabelle Lee. And as many of you know, Poe did marry his cousin. She was 13 at the time. They did privately, not a bad idea, and publicly a couple years later. And he was actually quite happy with living with her and his aunt. So she did die, though, at the house in the Bronx that we looked at in class. And that was, it's very hard. It's very hard to lose a spouse. So he wrote a number of poems around that time about loss. Of course, he wrote a lot about loss. And, we've already talked about the theme of loss in this class. It may be the most eminent theme in literature, art, in our lives. How we handle something that is gone. A person, a relationship, a job, a place, that an absence is just the hardest thing to wrap our mind and hearts around. So Annabelle Lee, some people take it as just a beautiful love poem. Others take it as a poem written by a sick, obsessed person who may in fact by the end be a necrophiliac. So it's up to you how you want to take it, but we'll go through it and kind of try to split the difference. Actually, not split the difference. We'll talk about both sides. Annabelle Lee. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. In this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. Okay, now if you take it as just sort of over-the-top expression of love, Valentine's Day stuff, you can kind of say, that's not too bad. However, let's be realistic for a moment about relationships. You really don't want someone to have no other thought than to love and be loved by you. That is unhealthy, unrealistic, and if it is happening, get me out, right? One of the hallmarks of successful couples, they have outside interests beyond each other. They spend some time with friends, other family groups, right? So living with no other thought than to love and be loved by me, pretty creepy and unhealthy. However, if you just look at it as sort of an extreme expression of love, I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. Of course, that's the idea that love always turns us into children. But we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabelle Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. So their love was so great that the angels in heaven were jealous. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabelle Lee, so that her highborn kinsmen came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. So what was it that killed her? Well, he says it's the angels in heaven, but it's because they were jealous of their love. So, Poe is having it both ways, that their love killed her, but the narrator in the poem is sort of telling us that their love killed her, but he's blaming it on angels who were jealous of it. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven. So that's kind of a classic, teenage thing. I love him so much, I love her so much. You don't understand, mom and dad, you don't understand. Yeah, they understand. And neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. So his soul is so locked to hers that it will never be cut. Never be cut. Well, you know, you gotta let go, man. You gotta let go. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre tomb, there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. So I do admit, obviously you can probably tell that I am on the inclination of this is sick, over-the-top, unhealthy relationship stuff. He needs to mourn the loss of the woman he loved. He needs to move forward. He needs to carry her with him, however, not in this sort of sick, obsessed way. But I very clearly see this as a potential love, a sincere love poem. You know, again, exaggerated, over the top, as we often do with love. So I think you can definitely read it both ways. Now, to our Poe theme of internal drives, you can see that this person's focus on her, especially if they were young, and the fact that his love and his relationship continues with her even though she's gone, tells us that it is an internal motivation. It is something inside him that keeps him fixated on her even though she is gone. I mean, this is a fixation language in this poem. And he's not getting any feedback. He's not getting any response from her. She's dead. I'm not saying forget your love who died and move on. I'm saying remember the love of the person you died and move on. He's still hung up on her because there's something driving inside of him. It makes you wonder if it was always a one-sided relationship. It certainly is now that she's dead. And one-sided relationships often are because something is inside that person, a craving inside of the person who can convince himself that that person must love me, I must love that person. It borders on stalkerism, right? This is sick, this is dangerous stuff. You know, someone who stalks someone and thinks that they have a relationship but they really don't. It really comes all from inside the person's head without any external, in this case, she's dead. So it reminds me of a hit song from the 80s. I know for some reason a lot of you younger people in class have an interest in the 80s. Not sure why. But the Police, a good band, had a song called Every Breath You Take. And oh, it was huge at proms one year. And it was, they played near the end, and it was a slow dance, and you know, guys could cop a feel. But when you listen to the lyrics, it's like, what? You know, every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. And that's the refrain of the song over and over. Look it up. Every breath you take, the Police. And people thought it was just a marvelous love song, and even Sting, who wrote it, was like, yeah, it's a little stalkerish going on there. You really want to have a close, loving relationship with someone, but you don't want to be so enmeshed. You need outside interests. You don't want someone who is obsessed or fixated on you, and you don't want to be that with someone else. You'll burn out. It's not healthy. The person will always let you down. So Annabelle Lee, take it how you want it. I'm not putting it in any Valentine's Day cards anytime soon, but hey, if you have someone you're interested in and falling for, and they like Poe, hey, put this in a Valentine's Day card come February, and let me know how it goes.